Well, what a fun year 2020 was, right? Unless you're watching this 15 years in the future, I believe I don't have to explain anything for you, right? You lived through this with me. The year was off in pretty much every aspect possible, but music did surprisingly well when it comes to new releases. A lot of great stuff came out this year, and I'll revisit that in January, so stay tuned. But that doesn't mean it was great in every single area of it. Live music obviously suffered, but surprisingly the Billboard charts also did. But for its own reasons. Exploitation. This has been happening for a while now, but it only started to actually gain attention last year, with Old Town Road. But this year was when it actually burst as a major problem in the charts. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically artists and fans that found out they can exploit their way into the top of the charts. By fans buying the singles or merch/bundles related to the single multiple times, streaming the song in loop even if you're not listening, artists releasing multiple remixes of the song, and many more. The first major case of that was right in the beginning of the year, with Justin Bieber's Yummy, that ultimately failed in its goal, reaching only number 2. But from that moment on, Justin Bieber publicly endorsing that exploitation method, things went nuts. And this led to the year having way more number 1 singles in the US than usual. While the average number is somewhere in the house of a dozen, in 2020, we had 20 number 1 singles. 22 if you count the returning songs from last year, All I Want for Christmas is You and Circles by Post Malone. And another thing, this year broke the record of most number 1 debuts in history, with 12. That's 3 times more than the previous record. Some of these songs have already been forgotten. For example, do you remember that collaboration between Travis Scott and Kid Cudi? Or how about Franchise? The most bizarre example of that is Life Goes On by BTS, that debuted in number 1 the beginning of December. Then the next week, it fell to number 26. Oof, harsh, okay. But then next week it went to 93. 93!
He's already dead!
And then right after it, it vanished from the charts. This was the most extreme case, but it only shows how meaningless reaching the number 1 is getting because of that. It's just one more quote-unquote feature. It's nothing special anymore. And now, I have to rank all these 22 songs from worst to best. That's my thing, right? So, without much to celebrate, let's do it. Alright, so needless to say that some of the songs that did that feature were absolutely heinous. But the worst of the bunch is by far the first one that did it successfully. Toosie Slide by Drake. I just want to make things clear. I absolutely despise Drake. He's a garbage human being and a garbage musician. I absolutely hate his voice. And I seriously never heard not even one song by him that I even consider good. But even in Drake's standards, Toosie Slide is just embarrassing. It's basically a bootleg Cha-Cha Slide that has no personality whatsoever. I just don't say that it's his all-time low because In My Feelings exists. In fact, I think this was his attempt to recreate that song. In My Feelings got really big because of the challenge. So now he's trying to recreate that with one of the most stupidly gimmicky songs in history of mankind. And it's not even a song that's at least fun to listen, because the beat is absolutely generic and his vocals are just like always some of the worst things I've ever heard. This is shameful. Thank God the Drake craze is dying out, because he's easily one of the most overrated musicians in history, and this song is the main proof of that. 2% superb. But I still want that. Let's face it, if it wasn't for BTS, the song wouldn't even have reached number 1 to begin with. God, I was like 2 or 3 years without even hearing Jason Derulo's name, and I kinda wish it would have kept this way. I don't really hate him, but I definitely don't like his music. I mean, what he has under his belt. Talk Dirty? Wiggle? Bruh. His music always had this certain quirkiness to it, especially in the beats. In this song it's no different. But god damn it, this beat is a nuclear waste of awfulness. It's like the background music of those old people memes that your aunt marks you on Facebook. And Jason's performance is honestly pretty acceptable, even though the hook's forced as hell. But honestly, his part is not bad. He just has this terrible act of performing under terrible beats. And this is one of the most aggravating examples of that. 18% superb. Another song that exploited its way to the top. To be honest, even though I don't like Ariana Grande, I at least learned to understand why people like her. even though I still think she's a tad overrated. And Justin, to be honest, I never really hated him, even though Where Are You Now and 𝕗𝖆𝖵𝖕 are some of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. So when this duet came out, I wasn't really with high expectations, but they also weren't very low, so I decided to check out, they could still surprise me. Yet they didn't. This song is the most generically generic song in Generic Town. The beat is this really dreary reggae one, that just makes the song so powerless. Ariana and Justin performances again aren't bad, but they don't really make up for the lame ass beat. So the song ends up being a song that if I had to choose between listening to this and listening to nothing at all, I'd go for the latter. 29% superb. This is the moment where the K-popers are going to eat my brain with a spoon. However, I just want to make one thing clear. I actually like K-pop and BTS, but I can't tell the same about this song. BTS released a considerable amount of great songs in the past. 𝕐𝖆, Blood, Sweat and Tears, so if they were to reach number 1 on the charts, it would probably be a good one, right? When the song came out, I didn't really have a strong opinion on it. It was a bit too over the top to my taste and kind of overproduced, but I didn't hate it. But the more time passed, I started to notice. In the grocery store, in the supermarket, the church, the depths of hell. Doesn't matter where I try to run, the song is there. Slowly becoming the new Hey Soul Sister. Not even in my own house I'm safe because of that freaking Samsung. Damn it. Because of that freaking Samsung commercial. I just can't stand hearing that song anymore.
Hey Marshall, in our first party after the lockdown, I will blast Dynamite out of the speakers.
Oh man. Oh god, oh man.
This song is basically suffering the Shape of You effect, where it was a originally not bad song that because of its everywhere status, it became obnoxious. But the different thing is that even at the peak of its hatred, I still liked Shape of You. This song has no redeeming, at least not for the next 6 months. 37%. I was afraid this day would come. 6ix9ine reaching a number 1 song. But, surprise surprise, this is actually his best song. It's such a relief to know that 𝕐𝖆𝖵 didn't reach number 1 but Trollz did. Because Trollz by 1,000 miles, 6ix9ine's best song. It doesn't have much going on in it. In fact, I don't even like the song as much as it sounded like. The beat is pretty decent, Nicki's verse is also passable, and most importantly, Mr. Daniel Hernandez doesn't sound like Ren from Ren and Stimpy trying to impersonate a hyperactive Pusha T. So this is already a huge win. I never expected what would make 6ix9ine's music tolerable was simply changing his flow, but I also never expected that he would change his flow to begin with. So yeah, this is pretty acceptable, 54%.
Beat it up, nigga, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard.
Since the song is so low, you might imagine that I hate it, right? That's not true. From this point on, it's the positive side of this video, so good job, 𝕚𝖵. But I also got to say that I'm not a huge fan of 𝕚𝖵 either. Wait, to be honest, 𝕚𝖵 got the status of my favorite Cardi B song, which in all honesty doesn't mean much, since it's the only song by her that I actually like. It's quirky, the lyrics make me laugh, and people are saying that it's empowering and revolutionary. Empowering, I see that, but revolutionary? You guys clearly forgot about Anaconda, right? Megan's part is probably my favorite here. Unlike Cardi B, I feel like she deserves all the success she's getting. This song is the main proof of that. But this song has a peculiar flaw to me that it makes it rank so low. That's on its beat. The beat of this song is so wimpy. It's catchy, sure, but it doesn't add the kick that would lift this song to another level. It feels like it's missing something. It's like eating a hamburger without the patty. It's edible, but it doesn't feel right. So when I usually want to hear the song, I listen to the mashup with Dire Dire Dogs from Mario 64. That thing is stellar, and if it was of that version that we were talking, this would be way higher in this list. But as the way it is, it lands here at 58% superb. The song is okay, but there isn't much special about it.
Yeah, the song sucks. Why do people listen to it?
I take it back, it's pretty okay. Yeah, my relationship with the song is pretty volatile. Sometimes I wake up hating it, and others enjoying it. I don't know exactly why that happens, but it has been quite a while since the last time I felt anything strong towards the song. And now, all I think about it is that it's okay. 60% superb. Another of the forgotten #1 songs of this year. Franchise has a cool beat and it has MIA. That even though she's nowhere near as fierce as she is in her albums, at least she makes the song a lot better. And also Young Thug's part is useless, 63%.
Took it straight from outside, straight to the couch.
Holy crap. Travis Scott is the king of forgotten #1 songs apparently. But this time around Kid Cudi is with him, sounding jaded as hell, but at least he's here. I like this song considerably. The beat is by far the song's strong point, but I can't deny it lacks something that makes it truly interesting, because in the way it is, it just vanishes in the sea of popular trap songs. So 64%. And also there's a guy that made this song's comment section its diary. Wow! 2020 is a really bizarre year. We almost had World War III, Tiger King happened, Ariana Grande released a song that I liked. Real weird, huh? I usually don't get much backlash from my videos. After all, I only have 74 subscribers. But when I posted this video last year, I legit got some angry comments talking about how I placed 7 rings and thank you next near the bottom. My opinions about her haven't changed much. I still don't really like her, but at least now I get why people like her. Positions is another #1 song of the year, but at least this one didn't fade out of the charts after 5 or 6 weeks, and it was still holding strong in the top 10. But after came the wasteland of Christmas songs in the charts, ruining everything. I don't know what exactly made me like this song more than the previous ones. I think it's because the hook's better, even if the lyrics aren't as sharp. So to put it shortly, I like it. Why? It's complicated. 67% superb. Taylor Swift released 2 albums in 2020, and with those, 2 #1 singles, one for each album. Willow is the #1 song from Evermore, and while I liked Evermore way more than Folklore, of those #1 songs, I prefer Cardigan. Willow is a pretty nice song, but come on, is it good enough to be an album's lead single? Of course not. This song just reached #1 because it's Taylor Swift releasing it. If she wasn't so hyped the way she is, this would have debuted at number 50 at best. Nobody No Cry, Marjorie, Ivy, Coney Island, Gold Rush, Champagne Problems, Long Story Short, so many interesting songs in Evermore. And you choose one of the most middling songs of the record to be the lead single? Come on. If this was for Folklore, I totally understand, since to me that album is indeed weaker. And if Willow was there, it would totally be a positive highlight. But in between Evermore, not really. So nice percent superb to this one. Hey, the song's from last year! I know. But it reached #1 for a solitary week in January, so it counts. I've talked about it last year, I'll talk about it again, but in a more shallow way, so to put it shortly, one of Malone's best songs, but it's not too high because it's overplayed, so 72% superb. I predict this song to reach #1 enough times to surpass Old Town Road as the biggest song in history. I hate Christmas songs to be honest, but I'm not too mad at All I Want for Christmas Is You. This is one of the better holiday songs, because Mariah at least put some personality in it. Thank God I don't work at a retail store, because I'm pretty sure that if I did, this song's score would be below 20% instead of the 72% I'm giving. This is the song I've mentioned before that stayed only 3 weeks on the charts. Bruh. But come on, only 3 weeks? The song fell harder than Dave Grohl in Sweden. Even though I like to mock this song for its short stay on the charts, I actually really like it, and I'm kinda upset it didn't have the chart dominance of Dynamite, mostly because it's way better than it. It's a more chill listen that doesn't throw forced happenings in your face. Uplifting, but not exacerbated to the point that it gets annoying, and neither makes you irritated when you're listening to it in a bad mood. While I still prefer Dope over it, I think that I am happy this song had a place in the spotlight, even if it was short. I mean, very short. Very, very short. 75% superb, by the way. Why you always in a mood? Messing around acting brand new. Okay, here's the thing. I like the song, but I think the gimmick they use here don't work very well. This song is clearly one of those with happy instrumentals and dark lyrics, but I feel like the beat nullified the lyrics instead of adding up to them. I feel like for that the song takes a bit of credit away, but it's still a song that I largely enjoy and bop my head back and forth when I hear it. I only wish the lyrics were more balanced with the beat. And I also need to mention that line, "We play games of love to avoid the depression." This sounds hella confusing compared to the rest of the lyrics. So because of that, this song is a 76% superb.
Brand new Lamborghini, fuck a cop car.
Okay, this song is pretty high on my list because I really like the instrumentals. But the lyrics, they are so American, it hurts. It can be resumed as, ha 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 ha, I'm a stupid drug addict like a rock star from the 70s, but instead of a guitar, bitch, I have a gun. And another thing, there is also Roddy Rich's verse, that is not very good. I'm starting to think that my problem with Roddy Not Poor is that I don't like his voice. And also, I got them up, watch me wash them like detergents. Luckily the instrumental is so good that I can't relieve the fact that the lyrics aren't awkward. And 𝕸𝖆𝖵's flow being pretty nice also helps the song. 78%.
I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Lizzo had a week here. She didn't release anything, and of the popular female rappers of the current times, she's my favorite, so this made me get a little mad. But at least Megan Thee Stallion released an album and an EP that were good enough to make up for the lack of Lizzo in my 2020. In both releases, Sag was one of the positive highlights, but never the best track. Leave that to 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗 and Outside. I love those songs. Anyway, Savage is indeed a savage song. Have you seen how many fantastic lines there are in here? Even a small diss to 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗. Was that even necessary? Probably not, but I am so happy it's here. Sadly, the best line of the song was cut from the remixed version. I really wanted to hear a Beyoncé ad-lib in the pizza line. But even with that, this song is great, and it's one of the reasons I got into Megan's music recently. 81%. It's kinda strange to think that Say So is the 5th single of Hot Pink. Considering how memorable the hook is, this should have been the lead single. It works perfectly. I can't help but dance every time I hear it. Also, I love how she sings the first verse but raps the second, which reminds me of Lauryn Hill's stuff. And since I'm her stan, this is more than a positive thing. Even if personally, I'm not a fan of Doja's rap style. But it is still a great song. It's not one that I return a lot, but every time I do, I leave totally satisfied. It's 83% superb. I think this is the highest Ariana Grande will get in this show ever. Thanks Stephanie Germanotta for that, Miss Grande. I honestly really liked how Chromatica turned out. I need to think a little if it's Gaga best release, but it's definitely up there. Stupid Love, Enigma, Babylon, those songs have entered among Gaga's best. And among all of that, there is Rain on Me. A song that while it's not even the best of the record, it's a really entertaining listen. Listen to the drop in the chorus.
Rain on me.
Listen again.
Rain on me.
That's freaking great! Even though the song is a dance floor anthem, in times that dance floors are as empty as Katy Perry's Grammy collection, this is still a great song to listen. And I just don't say that when things get back to normal, I'll go to the club listen to it, because I don't go to the club to begin with. But I'll at least keep listening to it every time it comes up in my shuffle. 85% superb. As I've mentioned before, I prefer Evermore over Folklore, but I prefer Cardigan over Willow. When I first heard the song, I was kind of skeptical, but I eventually grew to love it. And rightfully so, since it's a really beautiful piano and voice carried song. The chorus is memorable, sweet, and the song in an overall is just a real example that Taylor Swift can do a lot of great stuff, if you ignore the spelling is funs and old Taylor is deads. This might be her best single since Blank Space. Great job, Taylor! 88%. Oh my god, look! Harry Styles is more interesting than Liam Payne. Just like you know, everything! This song was clearly aiming to be the song of the summer, and it succeeded before being dethroned by Bardi C and Megan Horse's We Are Patriots. But it still won the title of Song of Summer to me, even though I live in the southern hemisphere, and it was winter when it was in its peak. So, well, sucks to suck. The song has so much going on for it. It's a relaxing, cheerful track that has one short but catchy guitar riff that adds to the mood of the song and makes it one of the best hit songs of the year to me. And similar to its dethroner, the song is also about WAP. Damn, patriotism is really a trending topic this year, right? The song is 92% superb, by the way. Admit it, you knew the song was going to be number 1, right? How couldn't? Blinding Lights is legitimately a fantastic song. We had many artists throwing back to the 80s this year, but the song that really stood out to me was this one. Not only because it stayed 1.5 million in the top 10 of the charts, but also because it's one of the best songs of the year in pretty much any category. The synth lead is fantastic, the chorus is beautiful, and in general, it's such a flawless song that's almost impossible to believe that in between its weeks at the top, it was surpassed by Toosie Slide, by the 𝕸𝖵𝖗𝖒 of rap. I really don't have to say much, you all know how great the song is. So, needless to say, it's 100% superb. Absolutely fantastic listen, and the deserved winner not only of the American charts, but also of the entire year. Good job, 𝕖𝖒𝖚.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!